Good morning, dear children. Today we are going to see the continuation of early Tamil society and culture. Well, in the last session we have seen about the sources for the study of early Tamil society. That means we have seen 4 sources, that is classical Tamil literature, epigraphy, archaeological excavation and material culture, non-Tamil and foreign literature. So the first 2 we have seen in a very well manner. Today we are going to continue this lesson with the third sources for the study of early Tamil society and culture, that is the archaeological excavation. What do you mean by archaeological sites? It's a sources for the evidence where the early Tamil society reside. Also, it is done through the excavation. What is the meaning of excavation, or what do this excavation refers to? It's a systematically digging a site to recover material evidence for exploring and interpreting the societies on the past. So it has been unearthed. It has been brought out from the earth. Where do these archaeological sites have been done? Arikamedu, Alagankulam, Urayur, Kanchipuram, Kaverippumpattinam, Korkai, Vasavasamudram, Keeladi, Kudumanal. All these have been found in Tamil Nadu and Pattanam in Kerala. So these were the excavation sites that has been done by the archaeologist. Well, now we'll see who is in charge of these archaeological sites. The Archaeological Survey of India is a central government agency that manages archaeological sites and monuments in India. It preserves that area. Also, in Tamil Nadu, it has been owned by Tamil Nadu State Department of Archaeology. We have 3 acts has been passed to preserve all these archaeological remains in India. The first act is passed in 1878. It is the Indian Treasure Trove Act. And the second act in 1958, the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act. The third act, the Antiquities and Art Treasures Act. All these are the one to preserve whatever that has been unearthed from the archaeological survey. Now we'll move on to study about the material culture. Okay, what does this material culture says about? It's a brick structure. Maybe it may be a building, the houses, or streets, or any other swimming pool that you might have seen in Indus Valley civilization. It's like that. And industrial activities, some sort of small scale industries. And then artifacts. Artifacts, it's things what it has been found through unearthed, when it has been found during the excavation. It may be beads, bangles, or any parts. It's like that. Also, the cameo. Cameo is an ornament made in precious stone where the images have been carved on the surface. And the next one is intaglio. That is an ornament in which images are carved on the reverse side at the below of the surface. We'll see new terms over here. Bullion. This means the precious metal that available in the forms of ingots, that is imprinted. So this is also have been excavated, and these Roman coins have been found in Pudukottai. The another one is being excavated is punch marked coins. This is also considered as the earliest coins that has been used in India, and they are mostly made up of silver and have numerous symbols punched on them. So that's why it's called as punch marked coins. So in the previous session we have learnt about two languages. One is Brahmini and the other one is Pali. Now we are going to see about the Prakrit language. This is also one of the earliest language that has been spoken in northern part of India during the Mauryan period. The next we are going to see about the non-Tamil sources, that is the foreigners who have been come to India for trade. They have been given their information in their traveling notes. First one we are going to see is Arthashastra. He came to India through the Mauryan period, and he gives the important notes about the trade that has been taken from India to their country. It is with the pearls and shells. The next one is Mahavamsa. He belongs to Sri Lankan Buddhist. He is a chronicle in the sense the order. He is the one to give the order of his visit. So in his visit record, he has been said about the merchants and the horse traders in Tamil Nadu as well as in South India. Peripals, he is one of the Sangam ports. He says about the Sangam ports that has been found in Mussoorie, Tundi, Korkai and Kumari. Kumari is considered as called as Kanyakumari. The next person we are going to see is Pliny. He belongs to Rome. Pliny says about the pepper trade with India. Ptolemy, he is one of the foreigner, have been given importance in their atlas about the Kaveripumpattinam, Korkai, Kanyakumari and Mussoorie. Okay. Peutingerian, he gives importance for the road map where it shows the area of ancient Tamilagam. Vienna, he is a Greek document, he has given importance for the Mussoorie trade. So all the trade contexts have been given through the non-Tamil literary work. Next we'll see to the Sangam age. What's this Sangam age says about? Okay. It says about the early historical period as an important phase of history of South India. This period has been marked out of prehistory because of the availability of textual sources, namely Sangam literature and Tamil Brahmi inscription. Not only that, the chronology has been given in such a way in order that the Sangam texts are generally dated between 3rd century BC and 3rd century AD. So these were the reference that has been taken out from Chera Chola Pandyas and also through the Ashokan inscription. We'll move on to Thinai. You know what is Thinai, isn't it? Well, the Thinai is the concept that has been presented in the Tamil grammar Tolkapiyam. Well, it's a concept of that has been present in Tolkapiyam. It's a poetic theme that refers to the habitat of the Tamil society, the people where they lived, resided. And also it has been theme broadly defines Agam and Puram. You might have learnt in Tamil, Agathinai and Purathinai, isn't it? So this Agathinai refers to the interior and Purathinai refers to the exterior part of the people, the society. So what do this Agathinai refers to? It refers to love and family way of life. And the other one is Purathinai, war and heroism. It expresses or deals particularly with the war and heroism. So this Thinai has been based on Aindinai, that is 5 or the landscapes. We'll move on to that. Tamilagam was divided into 5 landscapes with the presiding deity, occupation, people and cultural way of life. The classification has been interpreted by scholars to reflect real life situation in these landscapes. Now we'll move on to what were the 5 landscapes: Kurunji, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal and Palai. What does this Kurunji refers to? The hill and a mountainous region. So the people, where do they lie? They live. They live in the hilly region. And Mullai is forested and pastoral region. Marudam is fertile riverine valley. So fertile valley, here they do their occupation as a agriculture. Neidal is a coastal region. Palai is sandy desert region. You are familiar with these things, isn't it, children? Well, the next one we are going to see is Sangam Age polity. Polity is with the politics, how it has been divided with the Movendas. So this Sangam Age polity has the powers in Tamilagam with roots that has been interpreted in Iron Age. The first people were organized into chieftains, and then Vendas means kings, Velis means chieftains. So we are going to see about Movendas, who were called as or who were considered as Movendas: the Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. They were the one occupied a preeminent position, higher range in the position with the other people in the society. So the Movenda controlled the major towns as well as the ports of the Sangam period. The first Movenda we are going to see here is Cheras. They have ruled over Kerala. They belong to Kerala. And also their capital is Vanji. The present position is Karur. Their port towns have been controlled from Musiri and Tondi. The palm tree flowers have been holded as a flowers for their own symbols. And the symbol is bow and arrow. They considered it as an emblem also. So these evidence, these sources have been taken from Silappatikaram and Paditrupattu. It also speaks about the Cheras portrait and their honors. Cholas, they have been ruled over Kaveri Delta and the northern parts of Tamil Nadu. Their emblem is tiger, capital is Urayur, and the port towns were Kaveripum Pattinam. This is or otherwise called as Pumbugar. Here, the Karikalan, the Karikala Cholan, was notable among all the Chola kings for his grand Anaikattu in 1st century. So it even speaks now, till now. The grand Anaikattu has been seen near Trichy. So over Chola's honor also we see in Silappatikaram and Pattinapalai. We'll move on to Pandyas. They were one of the called as Movendas. Pandyas, the third Movenda, was ruled in southern part of Tamil Nadu, which has been referred in the Asokan inscription. So Madurai was the Pandyas capital. The symbol was fish. Now we'll move on to Velis or chieftains. The Velis. Apart from the Vendas, the Velis and the numerous chieftains have been occupied the territories. So the Velis were the 7 chieftains. Who were the 7 chieftains? Why we wanted to talk about them? They were 2 generous, good in wholehearted generosity. Who were the 7 chieftains? Pari, Kari, Ori, Nalli, Pagan, Ai and Adiyaman. Please be clear in the spellings as well as the pronunciation. Okay. Finally, we have come to society in Sangam age. What is this society says about? It's a transition from tribal community to the larger kingdom. That is kings and chieftains. So here we see about the kings and the chieftains. They form the higher in the society. So the hierarchy also says about the kings in the topmost section, and Andanas, they were the one called as a priest. The third position has been given to the potters, blacksmith and the traders. Agriculture was considered as the chief occupation. We see over here hunters and gatherers and also the manual laborers. Women have been given high position, honored and respected. They were being portrayed as mothers, heroines, fosters and foster mothers. You can do this map in South India map, okay ma? Well, we'll move on to the homework session. Today we have 2 short answer and 1 detailed answer. Please take your book. Open the book to the 3rd lesson. Early Tamil Society, page 35. To the right side corner, you have archaeological sites. Mark the first 3 lines in the second paragraph. Let me read out. Archaeological excavation at the early historic site are the sources of evidence of the activities of Sangam age people. This is the first point. Now turn the page. By the left side, near the figure, you have Arikemedu. Okay, second paragraph. Start with that and end with 6th line, India ASI. Arikemedu near Puducherry is a Sangam age port excavated by the Archaeological Survey of India. Have you marked, children? It is in page 36 by the left side, second paragraph, first 6 line. This is your second point for your first answer. And the third point in third paragraph, first 3 lines. Start with Archaeological Survey of India, ASI, and end with the monuments in India. This is your first short answer. So your first point in page 35, archaeological site, by the right side corner, last paragraph, first 3 lines. Archaeological excavation at the early historic sites are the sources of evidence of the activities of Sangam age people. We'll move on to the second short answer. It's in page 36. To the right side, coins, under the subheading coins. Start with the first line, count down 2, 4, 6, 8th line, Bodhi Nayakanar. Coins to 8 lines. Your first detailed answer is with page 38, 39 and 40. You just look for this detailed answer in the slides. It has been given in the slides, marked in the slides. So look into the slide and mark it clearly. Moving this, you have to mark Chera, Chola, Pandyas. So I had just reduced the points. Be clear, and then you add up Vailis and chieftains also. It has been marked in the slides. So mark it clearly and learn and write. Do your homework properly. Get it duly signed by your parents. Post it in the evening 5 to 6. See you again in the next session. Thank you.